Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India News Hour, India's voice to the world. I'm Preeti Kaur. Coming up in the next 1 hour. Trump takes a 30-day pause for imposing tariffs on Canada and Mexico after the Doordarshan border checks and clamped down on truck trafficking. EU chief says will respond if unfairly targeted by the US after a meeting in Brussels. Also agrees to step up defense efforts against Russia and other threats by filing capability gaps. Donald Trump says there are no guarantees that ceasefire will hold ahead of meeting with Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. Next phase of the Gaza ceasefire deal to be discussed. Eastern Congo Rebel Alliance, including the M23, declares unilateral ceasefire from February 4th, says it has no intention of expanding footprints after taking control of the key city of Goma. US President Donald Trump delayed the start of tariffs on Mexico and Canada for a month on Monday after the US neighbors struck last-minute deals to tighten border measures against the flow of migrants and the drug fentanyl. Trump, in a social media post, has confirmed that the US is halting its plan to impose tariffs on Canadian imports in exchange for Canada doing more to prevent illegal drugs from entering the US. Mexico has also reached a similar understanding with the US. Trump said the talks on final deals would continue with both the countries. While Canada will appoint a fentanyl czar, Mexico will send 10,000 troops to the border as part of the deal with Trump.
We reached an agreement. It is in the agreement we published to place more National Guard in the northern border in order to protect the border and prevent drug trafficking, especially fentanyl trafficking from Mexico to the US.
The pause allows time for negotiations on drug smuggling and illegal immigration. Both Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau and Mexican President Claudia Sheinbaum said that they had agreed to bolster border enforcement efforts in response to Trump's demand to crack down on immigration and drug smuggling. That would pause 25% tariffs due to take effect on Tuesday for 30 days. US tariffs on China are still expected to go into effect also on Tuesday, that is 5:01 GMT, after Trump announced a 10% tariff on the country's imported goods over the weekend. Tariffs on goods from Canada and Mexico were paused for a month after Trump held phone calls with the leaders of the two countries. No such deal has emerged for China on Monday. However, Trump said that last-minute talks between Washington and Beijing will likely be held probably in the next 24 hours to avoid new tariffs on Chinese imports. He described the 10% import tariff as the opening salvo and said that the tariffs could be very, very substantial if no agreement is made. Europe must act with urgency, scale up its defense and security capabilities, and become a true security provider. This was the key message that emerged from the meeting of European Union leaders at an extraordinary informal summit in Brussels. Speaking at the press conference at the end of the informal summit, European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen said that the bloc wants a constructive dialogue with the United States, but is ready to respond firmly if it is unfairly targeted by the new Trump administration.
And against the backdrop that we know that there is a lot at stake, we discussed ways to strengthen a very pragmatic cooperation with the United States. There are clearly new challenges and growing uncertainties, so the European Union is prepared for a robust but constructive dialogue with the United States. When targeted, unfairly or arbitrarily, the European Union will respond firmly.
Strengthening Europe's defense through collaborative military capabilities was also decided among the member states. Elaborating on this, German Chancellor Olaf Scholz stressed on urgent need to build a resilient, self-sufficient European defense industry.
I advocate that all European countries should not spend 2% of their economic output on defense. and that at the same time we do everything we can to create the conditions for a strong European defense industry.
Wir unsere Interessen selber verfolgen können.
The issue of territorial integrity of Denmark also came up during the discussion, on which European Council President Antonio Costa said that reserving it is essential for all European Union member states. Polish Prime Minister echoed Costa's comments.
Preserving the territorial integrity of the Kingdom of Denmark, its sovereignty and the inviolability of its borders is essential for all member states. And the European Union fully supports the Kingdom of Denmark.
The words of solidarity towards Denmark were also important, and I only saw that we all are collectively in unison supported Denmark, and we are all aware of the consequences that we might face as a community. It's very important that our words are not empty about that solidarity and that we show solidarity with acts, not just words.
NATO chief Mark Rutte says that tensions between Europe and the United States over trade issues under President Donald Trump will not affect the alliance's collective deterrence. Speaking at a press conference in Brussels on Monday, Rutte also dismissed any notion that Europe could abandon its security relationship with the US. NATO's Secretary General said a European defense strategy without Washington would be a silly thought.
Yeah, but that means that you have European defense without the US being involved. That's what you're saying. That is a NATO or whatever the organization is then called without the US. For many reasons that will not work.
Meanwhile, British Prime Minister Keir Starmer said that his country is not choosing between either the United States or the European Union, stressing that it was important to work with both partners on areas such as trade and security.
Both of these relations are very important to us. We are not choosing between them, but that's historically been the position of the UK for many, many decades now. We face a more volatile world now than we have done for many decades. So now is the time to step up on all fronts with both the US and the EU. It is not the time to pull back on either front.
Qatar's foreign ministry is relying on US President Donald Trump to support the second phase of the Gaza ceasefire and hostage release deal during his meeting with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. However, Trump has expressed caution, stating that there are no guarantees the fragile ceasefire will hold. Netanyahu is in Washington to discuss the truce with Hamas, which is still being finalized. Trump, who claims credit for brokering the ceasefire deal, says negotiations with Israel and other Middle Eastern countries are progressing. Netanyahu aims to discuss victory over Hamas, countering Iran and freeing hostages with Trump. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has begun his meeting with the Trump administration's Mideast envoy, Steve Witkoff. The meeting is being held at Blair House Guest House in Washington, where Netanyahu is staying this week. U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio confirmed that he has been appointed as the acting director of the U.S. Agency for International Development as he arrived in El Salvador. U.S. President Donald Trump is considering meeting with the USAID with the State Department to boost its efficiency and ensure its spending is in line with its administration's agenda. Hundreds of USAID programs covering life-saving aid across the globe came to a grinding halt after Trump on January 20th ordered a freeze of the most U.S. foreign aid, saying he wanted to ensure that it is aligned with his America First policy. After his tour of aeronautical company, Rubio said that he in fact told reporters that USAID is not an independent organization and needs to take direction from the State Department.
I'm the acting director of USAID. I've delegated that authority to someone, but I stay in touch with him. So the functions of USAID, there are a lot of functions of USAID that are going to continue, that are going to be part of American foreign policy, but it has to be aligned with American foreign policy. Their attitude is, we don't have to answer to you because we are independent. We answer to no one. Well, that's not true, and that will no longer be the case.
The U.S. Agency for International Development, or USAID headquarters, was closed to staff on Monday amidst Elon Musk's attempt to seize control. Critics deemed Musk's actions as plain illegal. Secretary of State Marco Rubio announced that USAID would come under his control. Staffers were locked out of their computer systems and Democrats were denied entry to the headquarters. Around 50 demonstrators protested on Monday, demanding Save USAID, Save Lives. Critics, including Congressman Jim McGovern and Gary Connolly, blasted Musk's actions, citing his lack of background checks and confirmation process. Connolly emphasized that Musk has no legal right to shutter an organization created by an act of Congress, urging him to go through the proper nomination and confirmation process if he wants to run USAID. This comes as Elon Musk's Department of Government Efficiency is accused of a hostile takeover of the U.S. government, seizing Treasury Department's payment systems, with Senator Ron Wyden warning of a potential coup.
Unelected shadow government is conducting a hostile takeover of the federal government. Last Friday, DOJ forcefully gained access to the Treasury Department's payment systems and to the most sensitive information of virtually every U.S. citizen.
Billionaire Elon Musk, who is heading U.S. President Donald Trump's plan to shrink the federal government, said that the U.S. Agency for International Development needs to be shut down. Musk discussed the development of government efficiency, Department of Government Efficiency, in a social media talk on Monday. Trump has assigned Musk to lead a federal cost-cutting panel. USAID staffers were told not to report to the agency's headquarters in Washington and to work remotely. Meanwhile, U.S. President Donald Trump also commented on Elon Musk, stating that Musk is only taking actions that have been approved. Trump added that Musk will not be allowed to go places where there is a conflict.
Elon can't do and won't do anything without our approval, and we'll give him the approval where appropriate. Where not appropriate, we won't. But he reports in, and it's something that he feels very strongly about, and I'm impressed because he's running, obviously, a big company. It has nothing to do, if there's a conflict, that we won't let him get near it. But he does have a good natural instinct. He's got a team of very talented people. We're trying to shrink government.
U.S. President Donald Trump's administration is considering merging the U.S. International Aid Agency into the State Department in a major revamp that would shrink its workforce and align its spending with Trump's America First policy. USAID was established in 1961 by Democratic President John F. Kennedy. It was established with an aim to better coordinate foreign assistance. This is the largest humanitarian and development arm of the U.S. government. Congress approves USAID's funding each year. Also, the state government provides it with foreign policy guidance, and it now administers some 60% of U.S. foreign assistance and disbursed $43.79 billion in fiscal 2023. It has a workforce of 10,000 and assisted about 130 countries. Top recipients in 2023 of the aid were Ukraine, Ethiopia, Jordan, Democratic Republic of Congo, Somalia, Yemen, Afghanistan. In 2023, a total of $72 billion in assistance were disbursed worldwide, and close to $17 billion in USAID funding went to addressing governance issues. Also, around $10.5 billion went to addressing humanitarian issues, and $7 billion was set aside for health, and around $1.3 billion went to agriculture. U.S. aid spending has been around 0.33% of the GDP, and it peaked at 3% of GDP in the 1950s with the Marshall Plan program to rebuild Europe after World War II. Trump has announced a 90-day pause in most of the foreign aid. Leaders from Cuba, Nicaragua and Venezuela criticized the United States administration's immigration policies at the Bolivarian Alliance for the Peoples of Our America Summit. The Cuban President Miguel Diaz-Canel criticized the United States for its aggressive stance, including plans for a detention center in Guantanamo, which he called a threat to Cuban security. Nicaraguan President Daniel Ortega expressed solidarity with migrants deported from the U.S., emphasizing their contribution to the U.S. economy. Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro called for respecting the rights of the migrants and supporting their reintegration into their home countries. The three countries have contentious relations with the U.S. and may refuse any deportation of their citizens from the U.S. for the Trump administration. You're watching DD India News Hour. We're heading for a short break, but after the break, foreseeing Syria as a republic with a parliament and an executive government, Syria Shara hints at the election process that could take 4 to 5 years. Uganda begins the first ever vaccination trial for the Sudan species of the Ebola virus. And festive fervor grips Vietnam as the Asian nation celebrates the annual Luang Pagoda Festival.
Geopolitics and trade deals. Economic challenges amid development. Hard work and the path to prosperity. It's the economy always. Between walkers, money is what money does and says. Supply creates its own demand. Between the bulls pulls and bears tears. When supply chains globalization and India rises to the podium. We'll get you centered with the Economic Brief at 8 p.m. every Thursday on DD India.
Welcome back after the break. You're watching DD India News Hour. Let's continue getting you more international updates. President Donald Trump has said that he wants Ukraine to supply the U.S. with rare earth mineral. Trump touted Ukraine's rare earth minerals as compensation for Washington's financial support of its conflict efforts against Russia. Trump said Ukraine was willing and emphasized that he wants equalization for the close to $300 billion in aid. It was unclear whether he was using the term rare earths broadly to include all critical minerals or strictly referring to rare earth elements.
We're telling Ukraine they have very valuable rare earth. We want what we put up to go in terms of a guarantee. We want a guarantee. We're handing them money hand over fist. We're giving them equipment. So we're looking to do a deal with Ukraine where they're going to secure what we're giving them with their rare earth and other things.
Meanwhile, U.S. shipments of weapons into Ukraine were briefly paused in recent days before resuming over the weekend as the Trump administration debated its policy towards Kyiv. There are factions inside the administration that are at odds over the extent to which the U.S. should continue to aid Kyiv's war effort with weapons from U.S. stocks. It is unclear if the Trump administration will formally acknowledge the pause and subsequent resumption of shipments. In his final months in office, Biden approved on average more than $1 billion in U.S. weapons pulled from U.S. stocks for Ukraine, even more if new contracts for future production are included. Polish Defense Ministry officials and representatives of weapons manufacturers arrived in Kyiv on Monday to promote cooperation and discuss possible joint ventures with Ukraine's defense sector. Poland's Deputy Defense Minister Cezary Tomczyk said that the mission that took place for the first time since the very beginning of the conflict was a huge mistake. He also said that for the past several months, we have been preparing this economic mission to correct this mistake, to present our sales offer. In some other updates related to Ukraine, International Atomic Energy Agency Chief Rafael Grossi is visiting Kyiv to inspect a key substation that is critical for the safety of Ukraine's nuclear power. In his 11th visit to Ukraine since the conflict began, Grossi will visit Kyivska substation to assess damage and help prevent a nuclear accident. In September, Ukraine and the IAEA agreed that the agency's experts would monitor the situation at key Ukrainian substations in addition to monitoring nuclear plants. More than half of the electricity consumed in Ukraine is generated by 3 nuclear power plants, but Russian missile and drone attacks on the substations threaten the stable operation of nuclear power plants. Authorities in Moldova's separatist Transnistria region have lifted months-long power cuts and begun restoring heat to homes on Monday, bringing much-needed relief to the region's residents. The restoration of services follows the resumption of natural gas flows, with funding provided by the European Union. Transnistria, a self-proclaimed breakaway region in Moldova, had previously relied on Russian natural gas that passed through Ukraine. However, after Kyiv decided not to extend the gas transit agreement past the new year, the region faced an acute energy crisis as Ukraine made this decision as part of its broader strategy to reduce its support for Russia amid the ongoing invasion of Ukraine, which is now nearing its third year. Residents expressed relief at the return to normal daily life in the region. Syrians may have to wait for another 5 years for elections to take place in the country. Now, this was announced by its leader, Ahmed al-Shara, just after the week he was appointed interim president. It has been less than 2 months since Bashar al-Assad was ousted. In a pre-recorded interview broadcast on a private Syrian television channel on Monday, al-Shara said that the election process could take 4 to 5 years, saying the infrastructure for the vote needs to be re-established and that will take time. Though he also promised a law regulating political parties, adding that Syria would be a republic with a parliament and an executive government. Shara was also tasked with forming an interim legislature as the Assad-era parliament was dissolved, along with Baath Party, which ruled Syria for decades. Syria's constitution was also repealed, and the Assad-era army and security forces were dissolved. A transnational government has been installed to steer Syria until March 1st. His appointment has been welcomed by key regional players like Egypt, Qatar, Turkey and Saudi Arabia. Foreign ministers of the 5 Arab countries rejected US President Donald Trump's suggestion to relocate Palestinians from Gaza to Egypt and Jordan. The foreign ministers of Egypt, Jordan, Saudi Arabia, Qatar and the UAE held intensive talks with representatives of the Palestinian Authority and the Secretary General of the Arab League in Cairo. The ministers called on the international community to work together to accelerate the reconstruction of Gaza. They emphasized that any reconstruction plan must ensure Palestinians remain on their land. The Cairo meeting did not mention the United States in its final statement, but it was a clear response to the US President Donald Trump's suggestion that Egypt and Jordan accept Palestinian transfers from Gaza. The Arab foreign ministers also said that the UN's Palestinian Refuge Agency, UNRWA, is irreplaceable. The ministers reaffirmed their stance that a two-state solution is the only path to peace. They also welcomed Egypt's plan to co-host an international forum for rebuilding Gaza. The Eastern Congo rebel alliance, known as the Congo River Alliance, has declared a ceasefire for humanitarian reasons starting on February 4th. The alliance, that includes the M23, said that it had no intention of capturing Bukavu, South Kivu's provincial capital, after it seized Congo's largest eastern city of Goma last week. The Congo River Alliance has accused the Congolese military of killing people using aircraft to bomb areas it holds. It added it does not intend to seize any further territory, despite saying otherwise last week, and it will hold its positions. The ceasefire announcement by M23 rebels came shortly after the UN Health Agency said at least 900 people were killed in the last week's fighting in Goma between the rebels and Congolese forces. The conflict has displaced around 500,000 people, raising fears of regional instability and prompting calls from the Congolese government for international sanctions against Rwanda for its alleged support of M23. Meanwhile, human rights groups have been calling for more pressure on Rwanda to back down. The Democratic Republic of Congo's communications minister called for the international community to impose sanctions on Rwanda.
The world or the international community cannot not react on what Rwanda is doing in the eastern part of the DRC. They've been killing peacekeeper from United Nations. They killed soldier from SADC. They are killing population, bombing hospital, etc. And all this was happening during the day. How come the international community cannot take a strong position, a strong decision, not only to condemn, but to stop what Rwanda is doing.
Rwandan President Paul Kagame, who is also Commander-in-Chief of the Rwanda Defense Force, said that he did not know if his country's troops were in the Democratic Republic of Congo. DRC President Felix Tshisekedi and Rwandan President Paul Kagame will attend a summit on Saturday. With 30 years of conflict behind them, it is expected that any negotiations, if they do not break down, as they have several times in the last year, could go on for months. Ecuador's President Daniel Noboa announced a 3-day border closure to coincide with upcoming elections in response to growing security concerns and the increasing violence from criminal groups that have destabilized the country in recent months. President of Ecuador has ordered a stronger military presence on the borders and at ports. The closure will restrict both the movement of goods and people across the border, ensuring that no external influence or destabilizing forces can interfere with the elections. Fierce fighting in South and West Sudan killed at least 65 people and wounded more than 130 as a devastating conflict between the army and paramilitary forces rages on. According to the authorities, the city controlled by the Sudanese army was targeted in an attack that led to widespread destruction and loss of life. Sudan has been mired in conflict since April 2023, with battles between the regular army and RSF escalating in the recent weeks. The World Health Organization announced that Uganda has started the first ever vaccination trial for the Sudan species of the Ebola virus 4 days after an outbreak was confirmed. It is the 6th time Uganda has been hit by an outbreak of the Ebola Sudan virus, for which there is no approved vaccine. Of the 5 other Ebola species, just one has licensed vaccines. The deadliest Ebola epidemic killed more than 11,300 people in West Africa between 2013 and 2016. The UN Health Agency said it had supported Ugandan health authorities in getting the trial ready in the days following the announcement that a 32-year-old male nurse had died of Ebola in Kampala. WHO Chief Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus says that the trial, launched at a ceremony in Kampala by Uganda's health minister, demonstrates the importance of investing in research and development for vaccines and treatments and outbreak response preparedness. United Nations member states launched negotiations on Monday on a global tax accord aiming to create a fair system that addresses evasion by the super wealthy and multinational businesses, among other issues. Rami Youssef, chair of the United Nations Negotiating Committee, said the committee must craft a framework convention that redefines fairness, transparency, equity in the international tax system. Currently, international tax issues are largely decided by wealthy member countries of the Paris-based Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development. Developing nations, which are also pushing for a larger overhaul of international financial systems, have criticized their exclusion from the decision-making. Under pressure from African countries, the UN General Assembly in 2023 moved to proceed towards a new framework tax convention. After a year of discussions, the UN in late 2024 adopted formal guiding principles for the future accord, though several nations, including the United States under the then President Joe Biden, voted against the so-called terms of reference. Among the principles outlined were the equitable taxation of multinational enterprises and addressing tax evasion and avoidance by high net worth individuals. Festive fervor gripped Vietnam as the Asian nation is celebrating the annual Hoang Pagoda Festival. Hoang Pagoda, the longest festival in the country, officially kicked off on February 3rd, the 6th day of the 2025 lunar year, in Hanoi's Mai DUC district. Now this year, the festival has many innovations to enhance the experience for the visitors, especially the application of technology in management and organization. The highlight of this year's festival season is the integration of sightseeing tickets and ferry tickets into a unified electronic ticket. You're watching DD Indian News. We're heading for a short break, but after the break, discussion on President's address to continue in both houses of Indian Parliament during budget session. India's Home Minister Amit Shah to chair a review meeting on the security situation in Jammu and Kashmir. Bhutan's King Jigme Khesar Namgyel Wangchuk to take a holy dip at Triveni Sangam in Prayagraj.
Timeless, boundless and infinite, the essence of faith, the soul of Sanatan culture, from the sacred confluence of Prayag, where divinity descends to earth. Witness the grandeur, the devotion, the magic, world's largest cultural and spiritual gathering, with over 450 million devotees expected to attend. Maha Kumbh, India's greatest festival of faith. Exclusively on DD India.
Welcome back after the break. You're watching DD India News Hour. A quick relook at the top stories now. Trump takes a 30-day pause for imposing tariffs on Canada and Mexico after the duo nations assure border checks and clamp down on drug trafficking. EU chief says will respond if unfairly targeted by the US after a meeting in Brussels. Also agrees to set up defense efforts against Russia and other threats by filling capability gaps. Donald Trump says there are no guarantees that ceasefire will hold ahead of meeting with Israel's Prime Minister Netanyahu. Next phase of the Gaza ceasefire deal to be discussed. Eastern Congo Rebel Alliance, including the M23, declares unilateral ceasefire from February 4th. Says it has no intention of expanding footprints after taking control of the key city of Goma. Prime Minister Narendra Modi will respond to the motion of thanks in the Lok Sabha or the lower house of parliament today, while he will reply in the Rajya Sabha, that is the upper house, on February 6th. The ongoing budget session continues to witness intense debates and sharp exchanges between the government and the opposition over Kumbh Mela mishap and various other issues. Today, on the fourth day of the session, the debate on the motion of thanks is listed for post-0 hour and question hour, while after the debate concludes, Prime Minister Modi will give a reply. Anil Thomas is joining us from the newsroom to get us more. Anil, good morning. We've just given a broad outline of what all is lined up in both the houses of parliament today. You get us more. How do we expect the day to pan out?
Well, good morning, Preeti. Well, very much on expected lines, like it happened yesterday. It's the motion of thanks to the President's address, and I think we're going to see deliberations in both houses continue today. A bit of trouble could be expected, at least in the question hour, but I think the way business has been conducted yesterday by the Treasury benches in both houses, it leaves no confusion that, however hard the opposition tries, the government wants to continue with the proceedings of the House, and I think that leaves the opposition with not much of window to escape. If you see yesterday's question hour, close to 19 questions being taken there, and the opposition tried its best. So on a very similar lines we could see, but today we are expecting the Prime Minister to speak on the motion of thanks to the President's address, and that could be something that could be keenly watched, because it's going to set a point-by-point rebuttal to most of the things that the leader of opposition has said, and to all other leaders who have spoken against the motion of thanks to the President's address.
All right. Also, yesterday we saw both the houses were adjourned for the day. What do you make of the intent of the opposition? Because they have been expressing their ire, but at the same time, the need for the House to function smoothly is also paramount. Put all this together, what do you make of the intent of the opposition, Anil?
Well, the opposition is going to raise its voice, especially on issues that matter according to them. Firstly, it could be all the regular issues, rise in prices, unemployment, inflation, which have been regular features that the opposition has been trying to raise. They have kept one of the biggest topics that they have brought out in the last session of Parliament aside, and this time focused on the Kumbh mishap, which has been a common ground which all political parties have come together, especially in trying to get answers from the government. I think the government still has not given any clear directions. At least the Parliamentary Affairs Minister has not yet said anything with regards to that, on it being included in the business and when it will come for discussion. I think we'll have to wait for the motion of thanks to the President's address end to get a clearer picture. But the way things have started, at least the LOP setting the tone in both houses. Also, Mallikarjun Kharge, the way he spoke, has set the tone. I think the opposition has still not found common ground to come together to fight, and I think that's where it leaves the Treasury benches in a bit of comfort, because the Treasury benches are able to go ahead with their business. We saw a bill being introduced yesterday in the on the post-budget first day that you saw a bill being introduced. So things looking pretty good, but I think we'll have to wait for the after the Prime Minister speaks, the ball will set rolling on what exactly is the agenda that they need to pick, or one common ground on which they feel that they can push their agenda, or get the government to be on the back foot. I think that we'll have to wait for that. But as of now, today, all excitement, and all would be looking forward to what the Prime Minister will have to answer to all the questions that have been raised by the opposition in the motion of thanks to the President's address.
All right. Also, Anil, for the benefit of our viewers, a quick word on the legislative business that is to be taken up during the budget session this time around.
Well, legislative business, not much, purely other than, committee reports that will be presented, parliamentary committee reports that will be presented, some additions, subtractions to the members whose tenures are ending is all that we could see. Because, there are 15 hours that have been dedicated to the motion of thanks to the President's address and the budget session and the budget speech. So, all in all, we're going to see discussions on that. And the upper house's chairman has clearly indicated that there'll even be no lunch breaks in the middle, except for Fridays that you would see a lunch break. So, it's discussions without a break that's going to take place over the next 5 days, next 4 days, next 3 days in Parliament. And I think that's where, you will get to see a clearer picture on where the directions are. Because yesterday, if you see the discussions that took place, the discussion was, on the broader picture, the vision for India that was more highlighted, and the Treasury benches trying to, speak about all the things that have been done by the government for the people of Delhi and also the people of India. I think that's where the line of discussion has been. But today you will get a much broader picture on how exactly things are, because let's also not forget that Delhi is going to polls. So, that's somewhere playing in the backdrop of everything that's been happening in Parliament.
All right, Anil, thank you so much for joining in with those details. India's Home Minister Amit Shah will chair a review meeting on the security situation in Jammu and Kashmir on Tuesday. The Home Minister is expected to discuss the status of the zero-tolerance policy against terrorism and the ongoing operations against terrorists. During the last review meeting on December 19th, 2024, Amit Shah directed all security agencies to continue working in a coordinated manner to eliminate terrorism in Jammu and Kashmir. The government has maintained that there is a significant decline in terrorist incidents, infiltration and recruitment of youth in terrorist organizations. Security forces last week launched a massive operation in Jammu and Kashmir, mostly in the higher reaches and forested areas along the line of control, to locate and eliminate terrorists who carried out multiple attacks in different districts last year. The campaigning for Delhi Assembly polls ended on Monday evening. Now, the voting for the 70 Assembly seats of Delhi will be held on February 5th in a single phase to elect the new government in the national capital. The results for Delhi election will be announced on February 8th. With campaigning coming to a close, the mandatory silence period comes into effect. Delhi police is conducting flag march and security sweep ahead of the voting. The poll panel has prohibited the release of exit polls till 6:30 p.m. on February 5th, the day of voting. Any results of exit polls will be released only after 6:30 p.m. on Wednesday. As many as 1.56 crore voters are eligible to cast their ballots. Apart from Delhi Assembly elections, the by-polls for Milkipur Assembly seat in Uttar Pradesh and Erode East Assembly seat in Tamil Nadu are also scheduled for February 5th. Secretary General of the Shanghai Cooperation Organization, Nurlan Yermebekov, arrived in New Delhi on Tuesday on his first official visit to India. During his visit, he will meet External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar and also the Minister of State for External Affairs, Kirti Vardhan Singh. Also, he will address the Indian Council of World Affairs. Earlier, External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar signed 8 outcome documents highlighting India's contribution during the 23rd SCO Council of Heads and Government meeting in Islamabad on October 16th last year. And now we get to the latest from Maha Kumbh, the largest gathering of humans on the planet. The third and last Amrit Snan of the ongoing Maha Kumbh Mela 2025 concluded on Monday with more than 12.5 million devotees taking a holy dip on the occasion of Basant Panchami. Tight security measures were in place, ensuring a safe and orderly experience for all. According to officials, an extensive police and security arrangement was put in place across the Maha Kumbh fair area to ensure a smooth and secure bathing experience for devotees, saints, Mahatmas and Katvasis. Bhutanese King Jigme Kheser Namgay Wangchuk arrived in northern state of Uttar Pradesh on Monday to visit the Maha Kumbh Mela. The King of Bhutan will visit the holy gathering on Tuesday, where he will take a holy dip at the Triveni Sangam and offer prayers at the sacred site. Earlier, the Bhutanese king met with UP's Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath. Upon his arrival, the king's envoy was greeted with traditional music and dance at Lucknow Airport. The Maha Kumbh 2025, which commenced on January 13th, will continue until February 26th. The event has already attracted millions of devotees from across the country and around the world. Our DD India's Siddharth Bhardwaj joins us from Prayagraj. Siddharth, we've told our viewers how a record number of devotees took the holy dip yesterday, marking the third and the final Amrit Snan. Let us know, what are you witnessing there today? How has the morning begun? Let us get more from you on the ground. What is happening there?
Oh, very good morning to you, Preeti, from the holy land of Prayagraj. And definitely you're right. Yesterday was the third and final Amrit Snan on the occasion of Basant Panchami. And around 2.3 crore people to 3 crore people took holy dip in the Triveni Sangam, Preeti, which is the confluence of river Ganga, Yamuna and Saraswati. And today I'm standing here at Kali Marg, which is the entrance gate from where all the devotees from all around the world, not just from the country, are coming. And they're still coming, even after Amrit Snan is over. But, the divine power, they say, which is, bringing them here is unparalleled. That cannot be compared. And, people from all around the world, we have had telephonic conversation with people from all around the world. We talk to people here and they say that this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity and which cannot be missed, certainly, no matter if they have to walk 20 to 25 kilometers. Because, Preeti, I keep saying to you that, the vehicular movement is stopped somewhere about 15 to 20 kilometers from the Mela premises. The buses are stopped, but people are walking, carrying luggage on their head. And they say that this is once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. A divine power is bringing them here, and they certainly cannot miss it. They just want to take a dip in the Triveni Sangam. When we had a word with foreigners, Preeti, then they are saying that this is the most amazing setup ever they have seen in their entire life. And when they take holy dip in the Triveni Sangam, they feel that they have become immortal. They feel that they have achieved everything in life. They feel that this is the most beautiful and precious moment in their lives. When it comes to security, Preeti, then security measures are certainly tight, especially after the Mauni Amavasya. And there's a 7-layer security. I keep saying that there's a 7-layer security that has been deployed. And the use of technology is incredible. When you see the use of technology when it comes to security, or you see the use of technology when it comes to entertainment, both are incredible. If I talk to you about security, Preeti, then you have AI integrated CCTV cameras that are monitoring every corner of the Kumbh Mela premises. Apart from that, there is underwater drones. This technology, which is new, it can go up to 100 meters inside the water and provide real-time images to make sure that all those devotees and pilgrims who are coming here, their journey remains safe, secure and peaceful. Apart from that, if I talk to you about the entertainment part, Preeti, then you also have Digital Maha Kumbh Experience Center. I did a story on that and it's just incredible. Once you enter inside, it feels like you are in a different world. You can experience the journey of Maha Kumbh. You can see all the AI integrated technology that is there, including Samudra Manthan. You can do Diya Dan by just pressing the button. You also have Kalagram. You also have QR codes on the poles. You just have to scan them and you get all the details. Apart from that, there are about 1.5 urinals and toilets that have been set up. And for the cleaning of that, you just have to scan the QR code and you just have to report. So basically, when it comes to sanitation, when it comes to providing facilities to all the devotees and pilgrims who are coming here, it's just incredible. All elaborate arrangements have been made, because you have the next important snan on 12th, and then you have on 26th Maha Shivratri. So all the elaborate arrangements have been made for all the devotees and pilgrims who are coming here to enjoy the grandeur of Maha Kumbh 2025 and to take holy dip in the Triveni Sangam, which, like I say, is the confluence of river Ganga, Yamuna and Saraswati. People are walking here, they have smiled on their faces, they are carrying luggage on their head, but they are saying that no matter what, no matter how the temperature will soar, we will come and take holy dip in the Triveni Sangam, carrying luggage on their head.
All right.
The scene is just beautiful. I would also like to request my camera person, just a second, Preeti. I would like to show our viewers this entry gate of Kalimag from where the devotees are coming in. You can see, I would request my camera person to zoom in a bit, and you can see how people are coming in. Even after third Amrit Snan, even after the final Amrit Snan, people are coming here in large numbers. You can see the influx of devotees from all around the world. In fact, Preeti, one thing which I mentioned time and again, this is very important and interesting, that students from renowned universities from all around the world are coming here and doing research on the fact that how such a large gathering is going in a very streamlined and peaceful manner talks volumes about the fact, Preeti, that how the Maha Kumbh 2025 is being talked about, in the entire world.
All right.
It is leaving an indelible mark on the world map. Back to you, Preeti.
All right, Siddharth. We'll end it here. Thank you so much for joining in with those details from Prayagraj. And February 4th marks the World Cancer Day. It is a time to reflect on the global burden of cancer, as well as to celebrate advancements in screening that have resulted in decreased mortality from the second leading cause of death worldwide. Nearly 20 million new cancer cases are diagnosed annually, with about 9.7 million deaths, according to the most recent statistics published by the World Health Organization. This means that about 1 in 5 individuals will develop cancer at some point in their lifetime. Worldwide, lung cancer also remains the deadliest cancer, followed by colorectal cancer and liver cancer. To create awareness on Cancer Day, Indian sand artist Mana Sahu made a sand art at Puri Lighthouse in eastern state of Odisha. For the World Cancer Day, the public broadcaster of India, Prasar Bharati, has joined hands with Max Hospital to spread awareness about the disease. The India correspondent Vishal Barrister spoke with Prasar Bharati chairman Navneet Kumar Sehgal, who on Monday lit up the Tower of Hope in New Delhi as part of the awareness program. Take a look.
We are here at Pitampura, and as you can see, this is 235 meters tall. This is the transmission tower of Prasar Bharati, and I have with me Chairman Prasar Bharati, and we are talking about cancer as the world celebrates World Cancer Day on 4th of February.
As an independent national broadcaster, we think it's our duty, one of the duties, to create awareness among various social issues, personal issues among the citizens of the country. And as part of our social responsibility, we have collaborated with the Max Hospital to lighten this tower. This is called Tower of Hope. And, this is visible from at least 10 kilometers area. And people in that area would see it, and then they would know that this is basically lightened to create awareness about cancer disease. Cancer is a very kind of, people are very afraid of these diseases because there have been thoughts that in people's mind about that this disease is very fatal, and many had these ideas that there is no cure available. But now, with a lot of efforts of our medical fraternity and government, a lot of such cures are available. But the only thing is we need to create awareness among public that one must be very careful. Keep yourself medically examined, So now, if cancer is detected at early stages, it can easily be cured. It's not that the cancer detected at later stage cannot be cured, but it's easier if it is detected earlier.
So talking about television, now we have pan-India reach and also abroad also. So what role can Doordarshan play in fighting this menace?
No, we can imagine, commission programs about creating awareness. We have now Waves, our OTT platform, which is now available on your smartphone. TV is available on your smartphone. So we're working on that. We'll create more awareness through entertainment programs, through awareness programs on television also.
So there you heard the chairman Prasar Bharati, prevention is better than cure, and as the public broadcaster, Prasar Bharati is playing its role. With cameraman R.K. Teddy, this is Vishal Beristo for DD India.
And now we turn focus to business updates. United States President Donald Trump has signed an executive order for the creation of a sovereign wealth fund within the next year, saying it could potentially buy the short video app TikTok. The short video platform TikTok briefly went offline ahead of a law requiring its Chinese parent company ByteDance to either sell the app or face a nationwide ban. The law was set to take effect on 19th of January. After assuming office on 20th of January, Trump signed an order delaying the enforcement of the ban on TikTok by 75 days. He has since confirmed discussions with various parties about acquiring TikTok and indicated that a decision regarding its future is likely in February. Speaking to reporters about TikTok, Trump mentioned that Microsoft was among the companies interested in acquiring the platform.
So other countries have sovereign wealth funds, and they're much smaller countries, and they're not the United States. We have tremendous potential in this country, tremendous. You're seeing that, what's happened just in a short period of time. And as an example, TikTok, we're going to be doing something perhaps with TikTok, and perhaps not. If we make the right deal, we'll do it, otherwise we won't. But I have the right to do that, and we might put that in the sovereign wealth fund, whatever we make, or if we do a partnership with very wealthy people, a lot of options, but we could put that as an example in the fund, and we have a lot of other things that we could put in the fund.
French Prime Minister François Bayrou has pushed through the country's budget without a parliamentary vote, invoking a constitutional clause. Bayrou on Monday used Article 49.3 to force through the budget legislation, sparking a no-confidence motion from the left. Despite this, his job appears secure thanks to support from the Socialist Party. The move comes as France faces pressure from the European Commission to control its growing deficits and debt. Bayrou has prioritized a sustainable budget plan after his predecessor's austerity plan was scrapped. On to sports now. Tamil Nadu's Vellavan Senthilkumar and Goa's Akansha Salunke clinched the gold medals in the men's and women's squash at the 38th National Games on Monday. In the men's final, Vellavan Senthilkumar secured a commanding 11-6, 11-9, 11-7 victory over Rahul Betha of Maharashtra. Meanwhile, Tamil Nadu's Abhay Singh and Maharashtra's Suraj Chand earned bronze medals. In the women's final, Akansha Salunke of Goa defeated Anjali Semwal of Maharashtra in the straight sets 11-6, 11-9, 11-7 to claim the gold medal. At the ongoing 38th National Games in Uttarakhand, DD India's Narayan Singh caught up with CEO of Bihar State Sports Authority to know about the preparation of upcoming Khelo India Games in Bihar in April and how they are planning to enhance sports infrastructure in the state.
Right now, I'm joined by the DG and CEO of the Bihar State Sports Authority, Mr. Ravindran Shankaranji. Sir, a very warm welcome.
Thank you.
Right now, as you are closely following the sports and mega events and the domestic events. Right. Sir, how you look this change in the India sporting arena right now?
As you rightly said, it's a revolution. The revolution has begun throughout the country. This Khelo India Youth Games is providing enough number of opportunities to our sports children to experience more, to match pressures, to play more competitive games and to develop their skills. So I am seeing that this has taken a movement in India, and the revival of national games is also most welcoming, and I foresee that India by 2036 will be hitting at least 24 medals in Olympics.
Sir, it's a great thing, but talking about the Bihar, as Bihar is going to host the Khelo India Youth Games and Para Games too. So, slowly and steadily, Bihar is making a strong progress in the infra of the sports also. So, tell something about what are the preparation, how about the infrastructure, and tell about how athletes are preparing for that mega event.
Our government of Bihar, under the leadership of Mr. Nitish Kumar, we have come out with sports recruitment policy, sports scholarship policy, panchayat club sports policies, and talent scouting policy in 40,000 middle schools and high school, covering 60 lakh children. So we are working at the grassroots level. This is how we are trying to produce more and more athletes from our state, so that by 2036 Bihar will be in a position to contribute more and more athletes to the Indian team for the Olympics.
So as you listen that what the Ravindra Shankaranji said, that fabulous arrangements are here for the games, and he mentioned that the Bihar too is making a strong strides towards achieving the sporting excellence. Therefore, we are hoping that when the next edition of the Khelo India Youth Games will take place in Bihar, it will be a great moment not only for the Bihar, for the country also. With camera person Manmohan Narayan Singh, DD India, Dehradun.
40 light installations scattered around Copenhagen brightened the Danish capital amidst the ongoing light festival that opened on January 31st. Light treasure hunts, concerts, a silent disco and a light run will also take place during the festival. The festival, which runs until February 23rd, is the largest light art festival in Europe in numbers of artworks on display. All right, that's it in this edition of DD India News Hour. But let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. For those of you on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on the DD India mobile app. This app is available on both Android and iOS platforms, and you can download the respective QR codes. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Preeti Kaur signing off, and from all of us here in Delhi, thanks for watching DD India News Hour.